Silk is closely interwoven with Indian culture, our festival finery, our religious rituals, our colorful celebrations. The demand for silk is naturally one that is ever growing, and production has been racing to keep up. In 1951-52, a total of 625 metric tons of mulberry raw silk was produced, a figure that shot up to 14,060 metric tons in 1991-92. Yet, it is estimated that this high production figure still falls far short of the potential. The possibilities for exports are tremendous as well. Today, exports account for a mere 15% of production, bringing in foreign exchange worth 675 crore rupees. Clearly, it is well worth the effort to boost our export sales. Indeed, to boost the sericulture industry as a whole. The National Sericulture Project sets out to do just this. The National Sericulture Project has been in effect since 1989 and is supported by the World Bank as well as the Swiss Development Cooperation. It covers Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal and Jammu and Kashmir, all traditionally silk-producing areas. In addition, it also covers 12 other states, with the intention of increasing the spread of sericulture in India. Specific objectives have been drawn up, relevant to each area. But the overall aim can be summarized as developing the requisite infrastructure for a fully functional sericulture industry in the country. This covers mulberry growing, seed production, cocoons, reeling, marketing and other operations. This table shows the financing plan under the NSP. Credit has, therefore, been envisaged as a very critical component of the National Sericulture Project. Today, changes are blowing through the banking industry. Rural banking is being recognized as a powerful tool for economic reform, bringing in its wake a better quality of life for the vast majority of Indian people. Banking policies no longer concentrate only on easing the lives of the urban minority. In the villages of India, credit is slowly but surely becoming easier to obtain. With this change in attitude, the need and dependence of rural activities on credit banking is being reciprocated with pragmatic and forward-looking banking policies. Among rural-based industries, sericulture well deserves its position of strength.
I get 8 crops of mulberry leaves, or at least 4, even with crop failures. I earn rupees 4,000 to 5,000 per month. That is a minimum of 50 to 60 kgs. A good bivoltine and productivity goes up more than 80 kgs. Mulberry is the best crop. Nothing else gives as much income. With other crops like groundnut, paddy, tapioca, one gets just rupees 10 per acre. But with this, 1 acre of mulberry, we definitely get 30 to 40,000 rupees. For those like me with just 1 or 2 acres, sericulture is really good and a sure income every 3 months. And the government helped to set it up. So there is excellent scope to improve our lives.
Sericulture, every year it's been area under mulberry particularly in this area is growing very much. And since our recovery is very good and also it is able to improve the economic condition of the farmer, we are also encouraging to a large extent.
Credit to sericulture is an important factor for the development of sericulture, especially in new areas. Under the National Sericulture Project, we have sufficient funds under the refinance scheme available from the NABARD towards credit facilities.
National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, as you know, plays a very important and crucial role, not only in the planning and monitoring of credit, but also it looks into aspects such as delivery of the credit and adequate supply of credit for agriculture and rural development. Sericulture has been accepted as one of the important activity for providing not only additional income to the small farmers, but also supplementary income as well as employment opportunities to small farmers.
Banking plan as such, there, as is well known, there is no need of generating individual schemes. The entire program has been covered in a simple manner where the banks have been given the target in different areas, and accordingly the banks will finance as per the norms of NABARD and avail of the refinance from the National Bank.
Obviously, sericulture makes cold business sense. But there is another aspect. Sericulture encourages social progress. It is labor-intensive, yet not physically exhausting, and therefore an excellent source of income for the so-called backward classes. Currently, women form 60% of the workforce.
Men go out and are not involved, but we women stay home and take more responsibility for sericulture. Sericulture is profitable, and that's why we have survived. No other crop gives this much income. Sericulture has been developing well, and so are we. Earlier, there were no proper houses, and now we have built new houses and sheds, and even dug bore wells. We have certainly improved our lifestyle.
This commercial agriculture, this industrialization-oriented agriculture. So this foreign exchange earner. So we must encourage this activity.
We feel there is a good potential in development of women entrepreneurs, particularly in the area of sericulture, and all-out efforts must be made in this regard.
With so much going for sericulture, why has more progress not been made in the credit sector? The issues are many, and each problem needs to be tackled systematically. First, there is a question of lack of know-how. Bankers and farmers alike require an orientation with the specific credit needs of sericulture.
To get a bank loan, I must show I have planted mulberry, and in how many acres. Now I need a bank loan for a vehicle. With rupees 50,000 worth of business, I live a good life. For 1 acre, the least amount needed is rupees 50,000 for materials such as trays, chandrike, stands. A building is rupees 1 lakh. So for 1 acre, you require 1.5 lakhs. I took loans for planting mulberry and for the building. I had no problem with repayments and easily kept up with the time limits. There's a high initial expense for sericulture. A shed, implements, chandrike, trays. Whether it's half an acre or 10 acres, this initial expense must be met. You need at least rupees 25,000 per acre. Many people are interested in sericulture but don't have the money to start. Even for a shed, loans put them in business.
The on-farm and the non-farm activities are developing in a fast and big way.
So, on-farm credit is needed for fencing, planting materials, labor, crop protection and irrigation. The unit cost of a well ranges from 10,000 rupees to 25,000 rupees. A pump set can add on 24,000 rupees more to the cost. Loans are obviously helpful. These loans are eligible for refinance by the National Bank for Rural Development as well as the Small Industries Development Bank of India. NABARD and CSB also refinance loans from the non-farm sectors. These include loans up to 20,000 rupees for rearing houses, rearing equipment, disease prevention and control, and for reeling. The need for timely loans cannot be overemphasized.
In sericulture, we have to act very fast and we have to give the finance, because when the farmers go for some activity and they plant the mulberry and the mulberry leaves are matured, it may not be suitable for the silkworms to take that. Therefore, very timely finance is the crux of the whole sericulture activity.
Are bankers and sericulturists satisfied with the handling of credit needs? The reaction appears mixed.
Initially, raising a loan is difficult as the bank doesn't know me. So I have to explain my plans and they come and check my credentials. But once I've got the loan and repaid it promptly, further loans are easy. I've had absolutely no problem with loans. The bank even comes home to tell me my loan is sanctioned. Loans carry low interest rates and a subsidy for one loan in 4 or 5. So it is very helpful to us.
Bankers are guided by certain guidelines, and as per that guideline they have to look into every farmer, and if they find that the project is viable, then definitely they will do it. No banker will deny it.
Even though whatever the quantum of finance that is being extended is not sufficient, and there also here we have told that the per acreage the cost of cultivation whatever that they are giving is also a little bit insufficient. That the NABARD told that they will look into that particular area also.
One problem area where not much progress has been made is that of small and marginal farmers who own no land or have no clear title deeds to the lands they farm.
To give rupees 20,000, we must first show that we have 2.5 acres of land.
Small farmers who has requirements less than 10,000, they get very easily. There is not much of hurdles. But where above 50,000, where mortgage is involved, we find some problems. So people will not have the clear marketable titles to mortgage their property.
This is a social problem where innovative solutions are a must. Small farmers also have problems with planning, applying for loans, and with adopting a systematic approach to sericulture. In this context, rural banking staff have a crucial role to play.
Our field officer gives us good advice. He is a good man and tells us how to live well. He helps with timely loans. The bank provides help in all aspects. Sericulture is profitable, and so I slowly started cultivating mulberry. Officials of the Central Silk Board were very helpful.
Our managers also conduct extension activities like farmers meet, seminars, result demonstrations, where they highlight the importance of agricultural production as an economic activity. They also encourage the farmers to go for the latest technology to increase silk production.
The usual practice is in rural branch the main business is agriculture or sericulture. Naturally, to increase the business, the farmer or the staff has to go to the sericulturist and entertain the program. Suppose if the branch is busy with the other routine type of work, our extension officer, they conduct field days, field visits or seminars where they invite the sericulturists, they will have exchange of views, and then they will be advised to go for the latest technique in sericulture, and we entertain the proposals and sanction the loans.
The banking field staff often develop a personal relationship with their clientele. This works to greater advantage for the farmers who have someone to turn to for help. It also helps the banks because it is very difficult to deliberately default on a loan taken not from a faceless institution, but from a friend. Which brings us to the most controversial credit-related subject, loan recoveries.
The bank doesn't trouble us, we don't trouble them. Only if we don't pay the loans, there are problems. There are some people who take loans and then don't repay. Isn't it difficult to give loans to such people? When someone has given me a loan, I don't want him to come to my house to recover it. I have to repay it before he even asks.
Under sericulture segment, ours is about 80% recovery, whereas in other priority sector segment, it is around 52% we have.
Till June 91, the recovery percentage was very low because of this ARDR scheme, there is a loan waiver scheme of the government. During 91-92, the recovery performance is better, and during this year, we are going to register something like about 60% recovery for the bank as a whole.
Not so surprisingly, the overall experience of bankers has been very positive. Sericulture is in fact a very paying proposition and an excellent credit risk. One idea that may prove feasible is a tie-up arrangement with the cocoon markets.
In some areas, a tie-up arrangement has been suggested. We could try it. We told the concerned bankers that we would organize the tie-up. Farmers are willing to sign their agreement.
And if a tie-up arrangement is given, then the repayment will be assured for the banks, and the banks will lend more under the sericulture activity.
The tie-up arrangements has to be encouraged, then only the bankers will feel happy, it can be easily recovered.
Sericulture seems to encourage people to come up with such solutions. Their enthusiasm is catching, and it only remains to test out the ideas generated.
சின்ன விவசாயி பெரிய விவசாயி எல்லாத்துக்கும் இது லாபமாக இருக்குங்க. அது நிறைய செய்வாங்க அதை. நம்ம இந்தியா ஒரு சைனாவோட அருமையாக வந்து
India can even overtake China. This is true.
அது உண்மை.
வங்கிகளுடன் ஜாயிண்ட் ரெக்கவரி கேம்ப்
Joint recovery camps involving bank officials, government departments and sericulture seem like a good idea.
With regards to recovery, we have to set up giant recovery teams mixing both government officials, especially Department of Sericulture and bankers.
I would without hesitation say that our interaction with the bankers has been most cordial. And whenever we have approached them for anything on credit, they have been quite positive. I would say this is especially true of NABARD, because many of the schemes wherein they had limits of credit, for instance, Rearing House, it was 20,000. It is at our instance that they have revised it to 30,000.
Apart from extending refinance support to the sericulturists, we are also actively promoting the sericulturists by extending the equity type of assistance through some of our special schemes like National Equity Fund, the Mahila Udyam Nidhi and the seed capital assistance. CSB also supports entrepreneurship development activities and also skill upgradation programs for the benefit of sericulturists.
The successes of individual sericulturists also provide further motivation. Sericulture is one agricultural pursuit where a small input in terms of money reaps rich rewards.
Now I'm a director of the Dodda Shivara Society, where I earlier used to borrow from. It's because of sericulture that I could build my house. I was the first in this village to go into sericulture way back in 1958. Seeing my success, others followed suit for at least 1 acre of their land. From half an acre at the start, I now have 6 acres of mulberry. Syndicate Bank has given me a loan. First, rupees 20,000 for a shed, and later for other things. Now I have a good yield and dug a bowel with my own money.
I can give names of certain branches where if you visit that particular branch, particular place, you will find that the beautiful houses have come up. It is only because the income earned out of the sericulture that they were able to build a beautiful houses in a village and live very happily.
It is surely possible to learn from these successes about ways to handle the problem areas. We welcome suggestions and value pragmatic solutions. Under the NSP, the industry is slated to produce 21,400 metric tons of raw silk in 1992-93 and earn 3,090 crore rupees in foreign exchange. The banking industry and Department of Sericulture need to work closely to meet these targets. Already, seminars and workshops held across the country have had a positive response. The department also brings out a special newsletter specifically for bankers to acquaint them with the latest trends in sericulture.
The experience all over India shows that sericulture is a very viable enterprise for the farmers. But for sericulture development, along with infrastructural support, better technologies, training and extension, capital to start the enterprise is a must. And this will have to come through credit. The National Sericulture Project provides for a credit support of about 165 crores for sericulture. But a lot has to be done to achieve this ambitious objective. The viability, the intrinsic economic strength of sericulture should attract credit, should attract bankers, provided the systems are efficient. But the inefficiencies and the bottlenecks in our systems make it necessary that all concerned agencies, the Central Civil Board, the NABARD, the CSB, the commercial banks and the rural banks make concerted efforts to ensure smooth, adequate and timely flow of credit to sericulture. Also, credit to women needs special attention, especially because women form the majority of the workforce in sericulture. In fact, we have found that wherever the availability of credit has been good, the technology absorption and the productivity have improved remarkably. In fact, we hope that with the support of the bankers and the concerted efforts of all the agencies concerned, the credit scenario for sericulture will improve further.
With increased inputs from the banking industry and increased outputs from the sericulture industry, the National Sericulture Project can be a resounding success, leading in turn to India's greater economic prosperity.